I didn't know his name when he killed for me. The gallery opening had been perfect until it wasn't. White walls, champagne flutes, the soft murmur of collectors pretending to understand my paintings. I'd worn a simple black dress because I wanted the art to speak, not me. 26 years old, and this was supposed to be my breakthrough night. Then Marcus Vella walked in. I didn't know who he was then. Just a man in an expensive suit with dark eyes that found mine across the room and didn't look away. He moved through the crowd like water, effortless and inevitable, and when he stopped in front of my largest piece, a study in crimson and shadow I'd called Blood Moon, something in my chest tightened. "You understand violence," he said without looking at me. "I understand emotion," I corrected, my voice smaller than I wanted. He turned then, and I saw it. The kind of control that comes from containing something dangerous. "Same thing." Before I could respond, my gallery owner, Christine, appeared at my elbow, her smile too bright. "Mr. Vella, so glad you could make it. Shall we discuss the piece in my office?" He didn't move. "I'm speaking with the artist." The words were polite. The tone was not. Christine disappeared. We talked for 17 minutes. I know because I counted every one. Hyper-aware of the heat radiating from him, the way he stood just close enough to make me nervous, but not close enough to be improper. He asked questions about technique, about intention, about the nightmares I painted instead of sleeping through. Then David arrived. My ex-boyfriend, drunk and bitter, shouldering through the crowd with that look I'd learned to fear during our last 6 months together. The look that said I'd embarrassed him somehow, that my success was a personal insult. "There she is," David announced, too loud. "The little artist who thinks she's too good for—" His hand grabbed my jaw, fingers digging into my cheeks, jerking my face toward his. Pain shot through my healing bruise, the one I'd covered with makeup, the one from our final argument 2 weeks ago. I froze. Just froze. The room went silent. Then Marcus Vella moved. I didn't see him cross the space. One moment David was squeezing my face hard enough to make my eyes water. The next he was on the floor, blood pouring from his nose, and Marcus was standing over him with the kind of stillness that screamed violence. "Who?" Marcus said, his voice carrying across the entire gallery. "The fuck touched her face?" David tried to scramble backward. "I didn't, she's my—" "Answer the question." Marcus crouched down, and I saw something in his hand, something metal. "Who touched her face?" "Man, I don't know who you think you are." The gallery erupted in gasps as Marcus grabbed David by the throat, lifting him partially off the ground. "I'm the man who's going to make you wish you'd never been born. But first, you're going to tell this room exactly how many times you've put your hands on her." I couldn't breathe. David's eyes found mine, terrified, and I saw him calculate, saw him realize that lying would be worse. 3 times, he choked out. "Jesus, 3 times, okay? Let me go!" Marcus released him. David collapsed to the floor, gasping. Then Marcus turned to me, and his eyes were different, softer, but somehow more intense. Is he telling the truth? I should have been scared, should have been horrified. Instead, I whispered, 4. Something flickered across his face. He looked back at David. "You heard her. 4. He pulled out his phone, pressed one button, spoke 2 words. "Come now." Within 3 minutes, men in suits arrived, not police, something else. Marcus gestured to David. "Take him. I want 4 bones broken, 1 for each time he touched what wasn't his." "No!" I found my voice. "You can't." His hand, gentle, so gentle it shocked me, cupped my unmarked cheek. "Can't I?" The men dragged David out. He was screaming, people were filming, someone was crying. Marcus's thumb brushed under my eye, careful of the bruise hidden beneath makeup. "Who are you?" I breathed. "The man who's going to make sure no one ever touches you again." Then he was gone, following his men out into the night, leaving me standing in the ruins of my gallery opening with 100 witnesses and the sudden, terrifying knowledge that my life had just changed completely. The headlines started within an hour. Mafia boss brutally avenges unknown woman at art gallery. Marcus Vella's public display of violence shocks Manhattan elite. Who is the artist that made the King of New York lose control? I went home to my studio apartment, locked every lock, and waited for the world to end. Instead, at midnight, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. The bruise on your face. Is it healing properly? I stared at the screen for a full minute, then typed, "How did you get this number? I own the city. I can get anything." My hands trembled. "What do you want from me?" The response came immediately. "To make sure you're safe." Why? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, because no one else will. I should have blocked the number, should have called the police, though after what I'd seen, I doubted they'd help. Instead, I whispered to my empty apartment, "What have I done?" My phone buzzed again. "Sleep, Isla. Tomorrow we talk." I hadn't told him my name. The flowers arrived at dawn, white roses, 24 of them, in a crystal vase that probably cost more than my rent. No card, no explanation, just flowers and the certainty that he'd sent them. I spent the morning reading articles about myself. Isla Chen, 26, relatively unknown artist, somehow connected to Marcus Vella, the alleged head of New York's most powerful crime family. Speculation ran wild. Was I his mistress? His daughter? A witness he was protecting? The theories got more elaborate by the hour. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, collectors, my mother crying about how I'd brought shame to the family. I turned it off after the 15th call. At noon, there was a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole at a woman in a pristine suit holding a garment bag. "Miss Chen?" she called. "Mr. Vella sent me. He'd like you to join him for lunch." I didn't open the door. "Tell him no thank you. He anticipated you might say that." She held up a second phone, my phone, the one I'd turned off. It was ringing. "He suggests you answer." With shaking hands, I opened the door, took the phone. Marcus's voice was warm, amused. "You're afraid of me. You broke someone's bones in public." "I broke someone's bones in private. The public part was just the preview." A pause. "He's alive, Isla. Hospitalized, but alive, and he's not pressing charges." "Because you threatened him." "Because he knows what he did was wrong." His tone shifted, became something softer. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm asking you to lunch. 1 hour. Public place. You can leave whenever you want." "Why?" "Because I need to explain what happens next." My stomach dropped. What happens next? "Lunch, Isla. Say yes." I looked at the woman in my doorway, at the expensive garment bag, at my studio apartment with its thin walls and broken radiator. "Where?" "Somewhere beautiful. Wear the dress Sophia brought. I'll send a car in 30 minutes. He hung up. The dress was burgundy silk, simple but clearly designer, and it fit perfectly. Of course it did. He'd known my size without asking. The car was a black Mercedes with bulletproof glass. The restaurant was on the top floor of a building he apparently owned, closed to the public, just us and a table by the window overlooking the city. He stood when I entered, and in daylight I saw him clearly for the first time. 40 maybe. Dark hair threaded with silver at the temples, olive skin, Roman features, eyes so dark they were almost black. Tall, broad-shouldered, moving with the economy of someone who'd trained for violence. Handsome in a way that felt dangerous. "You came," he said, pulling out my chair. "You didn't give me a choice." "There's always a choice." He sat across from me, folding his hands on the table. "You could have refused. Could have gone to the police. Could have run. Would you have let me?" His smile was slight. "We'll never know." A waiter appeared with wine, with food I didn't order, with the kind of service that came from fear rather than training. When we were alone again, Marcus leaned back in his chair and studied me. Tell me about the paintings. Tell me why you're doing this. I asked first. I wrapped my arms around myself. They're just paintings. Nothing about your work is just anything. You paint violence like someone who understands it intimately. Where does it come from? The question was too perceptive. Imagination. Liar. You don't know me. I know David wasn't the first man to hurt you. His voice was quiet, certain. I know you hide bruises with makeup and long sleeves. I know you paint instead of sleeping because nightmares are worse than exhaustion. I know— Stop. My hands were shaking. How do you know these things? Because I see you. He leaned forward. Last night, I was at your gallery for business. A potential seller wanted to meet on neutral ground. I saw your painting and I understood something about you, that you're afraid of the dark, but you paint it anyway. Then I saw him grab you, saw the fear in your eyes, and I knew. Knew what? That you needed someone to be afraid for you. The words hung between us. I don't need a protector, I whispered. Everyone needs a protector. Most people just never find one. He poured wine I wouldn't drink. The problem is, Isla, that David was small-time, petty. But now, because of what I did last night, you're visible. And in my world, visible means vulnerable. Ice slid through my veins. What are you saying? I'm saying that my enemies will assume you matter to me, and if they want to hurt me, they'll come for you. I stood up, the chair scraping loud against marble. Then stay away from me. Too late. He didn't move, just watched me with those unbearably calm eyes. The moment I put my hands on him, I claimed you, whether you want it or not. I don't want it, my voice cracked. I don't want any of this. I know. Finally, something like regret crossed his face. But I can't undo it. So now we have two options. I assign protection, and we pretend we're strangers, or you let me keep you safe properly. What does properly mean? He stood then, crossing to the window, giving me space. It means you move into one of my properties. It means you accept a security detail. It means you let me control who gets close to you until the heat dies down. That's insane. That's survival. He turned back. I've already had 3 inquiries about you, one from a rival family, one from a journalist with connections to the Russians, one from someone I haven't identified yet. His jaw tightened. I won't let them touch you. You don't even know me. I know enough. Why? I was shouting now, all my fear turning to anger. Why do you care? I'm nobody, I'm just— You're the woman who looked at me like I was human, he said quietly. Not a monster, not a king, just a man looking at a painting. His words stole my breath. In my world, Isla, no one looks at me like that. Ever. And then you did. And then he touched you. And I— He ran a hand through his hair. The first uncontrolled gesture I'd seen from him. I'm not a good man. I've done things that would horrify you. But I can keep you safe. So let me. I wanted to say no, wanted to run back to my tiny apartment and my normal life. But his eyes held mine, and I saw the truth. My normal life was already gone. How long? I asked. Honestly, I don't know. Weeks, maybe months. And if I refuse? Then I assign protection anyway. But you'll resent every moment, and that— He moved closer, still careful to keep distance between us. That would hurt more than you know. I looked out at the city, at all the lives continuing below us, unaware that mine had just been stolen. I need to think. You have until tonight. He handed me a card with an address. This is where you'll be staying. Security is already in place. Your belongings are being moved as we speak. You already decided. I decided you'd live. The rest is just details. He walked me to the elevator, his hand ghosting near my back, but never touching. As the doors closed between us, he said, "I'm sorry, Isla, for all of it." I believed him. That scared me most of all. The penthouse took up the entire 40th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, art that probably cost millions. My paintings, 3 of them, including Blood Moon, hung in the living room like they'd always belonged there. "He bought them," a voice said behind me. I turned to find a woman in her 50s, gray hair in a neat bun, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "I'm Teresa. I manage Mr. Vella's households. Your room is ready, your clothes have been unpacked, and dinner will be at 7 if you'd like to join him." "I don't have to stay here," I said, but it sounded weak even to me. "No," Teresa agreed gently. "You're a guest, not a prisoner. But leaving would be unwise tonight. There are photographers downstairs, and at least 2 men who aren't photographers at all." My stomach turned. "Already?" "Word travels fast in certain circles." She gestured toward a hallway. "Let me show you around." The penthouse had 5 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom. Mine was decorated in soft grays and whites, with a bed large enough for 4 people and a closet full of clothes in exactly my size. "He had these brought in," Teresa explained, "though he insisted I keep your own clothing as well. Said you'd want familiar things." I touched a silk blouse, tags still on. "This is too much." "For Mr. Vella. This is restraint." I looked at her. "What is he really? The news says organized crime, but—" "He's a businessman who operates in spaces where traditional law doesn't reach. And yes, sometimes that involves violence. But—" She paused, choosing words carefully. "In 20 years of working for him, I've never seen him lose control. What he did last night for you, that was unprecedented." "Why does everyone keep acting like that's romantic? He hurt someone." "He hurt someone who hurt you first." Teresa's eyes held mine. "I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's rare. For him to care enough to break his own rules." She left me alone after that. I spent the afternoon exploring. The penthouse had a library, a screening room, a gym with equipment I didn't recognize. Every window had bulletproof glass. Every door had biometric locks. A beautiful cage. At 7, I found Marcus in the dining room, reading something on his tablet. He'd changed into casual clothes, dark jeans, a white shirt rolled to his elbows. Somehow, he looked more dangerous without the suit. "You came," he said, setting aside the tablet. "Teresa said there would be food." A slight smile. "Teresa knows I need all the help I can get." Dinner was pasta, fresh bread, a salad with tomatoes that actually tasted like tomatoes. We ate in silence for a while. Then he said, "Ask." "Ask what?" "Whatever you're thinking so loudly I can practically hear it." I set down my fork. "Have you killed people?" "Yes." No hesitation, no justification. "How many?" I stopped counting at 17. He met my eyes. "Does that terrify you?" "It should, but it doesn't." I wanted to lie, couldn't. "I don't know what I feel." He leaned back in his chair, studying me. "Your father was violent, not just to you, to your mother too. You learned to be small, to be quiet, to paint your fear into something beautiful so it couldn't consume you." He paused. "Am I close?" Tears burned my eyes. "How?" "Because I recognize the patterns. The way you flinch before remembering you don't have to. The way you apologize for taking up space. The way you paint blood like it's normal." His voice softened. "I grew up in violence too. Different kind, but violence all the same." "So this is what? Some twisted trauma bond?" "No. This is me recognizing that you understand monsters because you've survived them. And you're not afraid of me the way you should be, because, on some level, you know the difference between violence that destroys and violence that protects." I stood up, needing distance. You don't protect me. You own me. If I owned you, Isla, you'd know it. He stood too, but stayed on his side of the table. What I did was give you a choice: accept my protection or become a target anyway. At least this way you have resources, safety, control over your own space. Control? You moved my things without asking. I moved your things because leaving you in that apartment with your address public and your face in every paper would be signing your death warrant. His calm cracked slightly. You think I want you here, hating me, looking at me like I'm your father? I don't. But I want you alive more than I want you to like me. The words hit like a slap. I don't think you're my father, I said quietly. Something in his expression shifted. No? No, you're nothing like him. I wrapped my arms around myself. He was weak, cruel because he was powerless everywhere else. I searched for the word. Controlled. Like violence is a tool you choose, not a need you can't control. He moved then, slowly, circling the table but stopping several feet away. Close enough to talk quietly, far enough not to crowd. What was his name? He asked. Your father. Why? Because if he's still alive, I want to know. The promise in those words, the casual certainty that he could and would find him, sent a shiver through me. He's dead, heart attack 5 years ago. Marcus nodded slowly. Good. That's a terrible thing to say. It's an honest thing to say. He pulled something from his pocket, a small velvet box. Before you panic, it's not what you think. He opened it to reveal a pendant, a small silver moon, dark red stone at its center. Garnet, he explained, for your painting, Blood Moon, and because... He hesitated, the first time I'd seen him uncertain. In my family, garnet symbolizes protection. When I was 7, my mother gave me a ring with this stone before she died, told me it would keep me safe as long as I remembered who I was protecting. He held out the box. I can't accept that, I whispered. It's not a claim, it's a promise. His eyes held mine. I will keep you safe, Isla. Whatever that takes, this is just a reminder, for both of us. A reminder of what? That some things are worth protecting, even when it costs everything. I took the box with trembling hands. The pendant was warm, like he'd been holding it for a while. I don't understand you, I admitted. I don't expect you to. Not yet. He stepped back, giving me space again. Teresa will show you the panic room before bed. Codes for every exit. You're free to leave whenever you want, though I'd ask you to tell security first. Not because I want to stop you, he added quickly, but because I need to know you're safe. And if I leave permanently? Pain flickered across his face. Then I assign protection from a distance and accept that I destroyed any chance of you trusting me. He started to leave, then paused at the doorway. That painting, Blood Moon. You said it was about emotion, not violence. But in the corner, so small most people miss it, there's a figure. A shadow, separate from the chaos. Watching. Protecting. He looked back at me. I saw it. That's why I bought it. Because I understood. Then he was gone, leaving me alone with a garnet pendant and the devastating realization that maybe, just maybe, he really did see me, all of me, even the parts I tried to hide. I clasped the pendant around my neck that night, told myself it meant nothing, knew I was lying. The first threat came on day 3. I was in the penthouse library, sketching, charcoal, because oils felt too permanent here, when Marcus appeared in the doorway with an expression I hadn't seen before. Worry. What happened? I asked immediately. He held out his phone. An email, forwarded from someone named Alessandro. Pretty little artist in your tower. How much is she worth to you? How many blocks of territory? How many shipments? Let's negotiate before someone gets hurt. No signature. Just a photo attached. Me, walking into the building yesterday, coffee in hand, completely unaware I was being watched. My hands went cold. Who sent this? The Valentinos, second largest family in the city. We've been territorial lately. He pocketed the phone. I'm handling it. Handling it how? You don't want to know. Yes, I do. I stood, charcoal dust falling from my fingers. If I'm trapped here because of your world, I deserve to know what handling it means. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, it means I'm meeting with their boss tomorrow. Public place, neutral ground, with assurances that you're not leverage, you're protected. What if they don't accept that? Then I make them understand that touching you means war. His jaw tightened. And I make it very clear what that war will cost them. More violence. Strategic violence. There's a difference. I turned back to my sketch. A window, bars made of shadow. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, violence is violence. You just dress yours up in nicer words. You're right. The admission surprised me. It is the same. The only difference is intention. I don't hurt people because I enjoy it. I hurt people because it's the language my world understands. Then leave your world. I can't. Why not? He moved into the library, standing near enough that I could feel his presence, but not close enough to touch. Because I have 200 people who depend on me for their livelihoods. Families, businesses, protection. If I walk away, someone worse takes over. Someone who won't have rules about civilians, about women, about children. I looked at him. You have rules? Everyone thinks the Mafia is chaos. It's not. It's structure, hierarchy, codes that keep total anarchy from breaking loose. He ran a hand through his hair. I'm not a good man, Isla, but I'm better than the alternative. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Probably. He picked up one of my finished sketches, Teresa in the kitchen, laughing at something. You make her look happy. She is happy. Because I pay her well. Because you respect her. I took the sketch back. Money doesn't buy that expression. Safety does. Something shifted in his eyes. Is that what you think? That I can buy safety? You've bought everything else. I haven't bought you. The words hung heavy between us. Haven't you? I challenged. New clothes, new home, new life, all provided by you. What's that if not buying me? Protection. His voice was firm. There's a difference between keeping someone safe and owning them. You're free to leave, free to hate me, free to refuse everything I offer except the security detail, which is non-negotiable because I won't watch you die. Why? The question burst out before I could stop it. Why do you care this much? You don't know me. I know that you paint beauty into darkness. I know that you see people, really see them, which is rare in any world. I know that when most people look at me, they see power or fear or opportunity. You just saw a man looking at art. His intensity was overwhelming. Do you have any idea how lonely it is to never be seen as human? The vulnerability in his voice cracked something in my chest. I see you, I whispered. I know. That's the problem. Before I could ask what he meant, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire demeanor changed. Cold, focused, dangerous. What? I asked. They sent another message, with another photo. He showed me, right now, through the library window. The angle was from another building, high-powered lens. Someone was watching us. Inside his own building. Marcus made one phone call. Lockdown, now, find them. Within seconds, alarms I'd never heard before started blaring. Metal shutters slammed down over the windows. Doors locked with heavy clicks throughout the penthouse. Teresa appeared, calm despite the chaos. Miss Chen, with me please. No. Marcus's hand wrapped gently around my wrist, the first time he'd touched me since the restaurant. She stays with me. Sir. She stays. Not angry. Absolute. Teresa nodded and disappeared. Marcus pulled me away from the window, positioning himself between me and the glass, even though shutters now covered it. His hand was warm on my wrist, thumb resting against my pulse point. You're terrified, he said quietly. Someone's watching us. Inside your building. Of course I'm terrified. I won't let them touch you. You can't promise that. Watch me. He pulled out his phone, dialed. Alessandro, access the building security feeds from the last hour. Find anyone who doesn't belong. I want names in 10 minutes, or I want bodies. He hung up. I was shaking. You're going to kill them? If they're here to hurt you? Without hesitation. That's evil? Wrong? Exactly what you'd expect from a monster? His hand tightened fractionally on my wrist. Yes, all of that. But you'll be alive. Footsteps approached. Alessandro appeared. Tall, scarred, carrying a tablet. Found them. 2 men, East Building, roof access, Russian based on the equipment. They've been set up for 3 days. 3 days. Watching me, photographing me. I was going to be sick. Marcus released my wrist, his expression going utterly blank. Are they still there? Packing up, they know we're on to them. Stop them. I don't care how. I want them alive for questioning. He looked at Alessandro. And I want to know who hired them and how they knew she was here. Alessandro left. I sank onto the nearest chair, my legs giving out. This is insane. This whole situation is insane. Marcus crouched in front of me, bringing himself to my eye level. I know, and I'm sorry. But Isla, listen to me. This is what I meant when I said you were visible. The Valentinos are testing me, seeing if you're a weakness. The Russians are probably working for someone else entirely. This is going to get worse before it gets better. How can it get worse than men with cameras on rooftops? Because cameras are just reconnaissance. Next comes kidnapping attempts, poison, car bombs. He took my hands, both of them. His touch gentle despite the violence in his words. I need you to understand what you're in the middle of, not to scare you, but so you'll let me keep you safe properly. Tears spilled over. I just wanted to paint. I know. His thumbs brushed over my knuckles. And you will, I promise. But right now, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? I looked into his eyes, dark, intense, sincere in a way that made my breath catch. I don't know, I admitted. That's honest. I'll take it. He stood, pulling me up with him. Come on. I'm moving you to the panic room until Alessandro confirms the building is secure. The panic room is tiny. It's bulletproof, that's all that matters. He led me through the penthouse, his hand at the small of my back, never pushing but always there. Guiding, protecting. The panic room was steel and concrete, sophisticated locks, supplies for days. As the door started to close, I grabbed his wrist. Marcus? He paused. Thank you for... I couldn't finish. For being the monster that keeps the other monsters away? For seeing me, I said instead. Something in his expression softened. Always, Isla. I'll always see you. The door closed. And in the darkness, wearing a garnet pendant that promised protection, I realized I was starting to believe him. Starting to want to believe him. God help me. I spent 4 hours in the panic room before Marcus returned. They're gone, he said, opening the door. His shirt was untucked, hair disheveled, blood on his knuckles. We caught them. They're being questioned. I didn't ask what that meant. He noticed me staring at his hands and something like shame crossed his face. I should clean up. Did you? No. Alessandro handled interrogation. I handled logistics. He flexed his fingers, wincing. Punched a wall when they told me how long they'd been watching you. Watching us. What did they say? That they were hired to gather intelligence, photos, patterns, vulnerabilities. They didn't know who hired them. Payment came through dead drops, encrypted messages. He leaned against the doorframe, exhausted. But they confirmed, you're not the only target. I am too. Someone's building a case against both of us. A case? Information warfare. Know your enemy, find their weaknesses, strike when they're vulnerable. His eyes met mine. You're my weakness now, Isla. And I'm sorry for that. The words settled between us, heavy with truth. Over the next week, proximity became our new normal. Marcus didn't leave the penthouse, neither did I. We orbited each other in careful circles, him in his office, handling business through encrypted calls, me in the library, painting the anxiety out of my system. But mealtimes brought us together. Teresa insisted on it, setting the table for two like we were a couple instead of a mobster and his accidental captive. "Tell me something real," Marcus said one night over wine I'd actually started drinking. "Like what?" "Like, what did you want to be before you were an artist?" I traced the rim of my glass. "A dancer, ballet. I was good too until—" I pulled up my sleeve, showing a scar along my forearm. "My father didn't like me spending time away from home. Broke my arm in 2 places when I was 14. It healed wrong." His fork clattered against his plate. "Isla. It's fine. I found painting instead. Turns out, broken things make good art." "That's not fine. None of that is fine." "But it's true." I met his eyes. "What about you? What did you want to be?" He was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "A teacher, history specifically. I loved reading about empires, how they rose and fell, the patterns of power." A bitter smile. "Guess I ended up studying those patterns anyway. Just from the inside." "You could still teach." "Who would I teach? How to run a criminal enterprise?" "No. How to survive one. How to recognize violence. How to—" I searched for words. "How to be human when the world treats you like a monster." He stared at me. "You keep doing that." "Doing what?" "Seeing something in me I'm not sure exists." "It exists. I wouldn't be here if it didn't." "You're here because I didn't give you a choice." "I'm here because I chose to be." The words surprised us both. I could have fought harder, could have gone to the police, to the press, but I didn't. Because— I took a shaky breath. Because for the first time in my life, someone chose to protect me, and I don't know what to do with that. Marcus stood, crossing to the window, still shuttered, still locked. "You should hate me. Probably. But you don't." "No." I joined him, careful to keep distance between us. "I don't understand you. I'm afraid of what you represent. But hate? No." He turned to face me, and the proximity stole my breath. Close enough to touch, close enough to see gold flecks in his dark eyes, to count the barely there freckles on his nose. "What do you feel?" he asked quietly. "Confused. Safe and trapped at the same time. Like I'm standing on the edge of something I can't come back from." "You are." His hand lifted, hovering near my face but not touching. "If you step back now, I'll let you go. Assign protection, move you somewhere safe, never contact you again except through intermediaries. You'll have your life back." "And if I don't step back?" "Then this becomes real, not just protection." "Not just circumstance." His voice dropped. "Something neither of us can take back." My heart hammered. "What are you saying?" "That every day you're here you matter more. That I wake up thinking about whether you slept well. That I listen for your footsteps, your laugh when Teresa makes you smile. That the idea of you leaving feels like losing something essential." He finally lowered his hand. "I'm saying this isn't just protection anymore, not for me." "Marcus? I know. It's too fast, too complicated, too dangerous. All of it. He stepped back, giving me space I wasn't sure I wanted. But I need you to know before this goes further, so you can make a real choice. I wrapped my arms around myself, shaking. What if I'm not ready to choose? Then we keep existing like this, separate but close, until you are ready. And you'll wait? I'll wait forever if that's what you need. The certainty in his voice undid me. I don't know who moved first. Maybe both of us. Maybe neither. But suddenly I was close enough to feel his warmth, to smell cedar and something darker. Close enough that when I swayed forward, his hands caught my elbows, steadying me. Careful, he whispered. What if I don't want to be careful? Isla. My name was a warning, a plea. I lifted my hand, trembling, and touched his jaw. He went absolutely still. I'm terrified, I admitted. Of you, of this, of what it means. Then step back. I can't. His eyes closed. You're killing me. Good, because you're killing me too. For one perfect, terrifying moment, we stood there, on the edge, not quite falling. Then his phone rang. The spell broke. He answered it, turning away. What? Then tensely. When? How many? Fine. Lockdown protocol. I'll be down in 5. He hung up, and when he faced me, the vulnerable man was gone. The boss had returned. What happened? I asked. The Valentinos made their move. They're hitting one of my warehouses. I have to go. Now? Now. He grabbed a jacket, checking something under it. A gun, I realized distantly. You stay here. Teresa knows the protocols. Alessandro is assigning extra security to the building. You'll be safe. But will you? He paused at the door. Does it matter? Yes. The word came out fierce. Of course it matters. His expression softened. Then I'll be careful. For you. He left. I stood alone in the dining room, my heart racing, my hands still tingling from touching his skin. Teresa appeared silently. He'll come back. How do you know? Because now he has a reason to. She smiled gently. Come, let's have tea and pretend we're not worried about men with guns. But we were both worried, and somewhere between the panic and the waiting, I realized what I'd been afraid to admit. I didn't want him to be just my protector anymore. I wanted him to come back, to me. He came back at dawn, blood on his shirt. I'd fallen asleep on the couch in the library, sketchpad clutched to my chest, and woke to find him standing in the doorway watching me with an expression I couldn't name. You're hurt, I said, scrambling up. It's not my blood. Somehow, that didn't make it better. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, jaw tight with tension, hands clenched at his sides like he was holding himself back from something. What happened? I asked. We held the warehouse, 3 of theirs injured, none of mine dead. The Valentinos got the message. He ran a hand through his hair. They're backing off. For now. For now? This world doesn't end, Isla. It just pauses between wars. I crossed to him, close enough to see the blood splatter on his collar, the exhaustion in every line of his body. You should clean up. I should. I came to check on you first. I'm fine. I can see that. But he didn't move. I couldn't focus. During the fight, during negotiations after, I kept thinking about you here, alone, afraid. It made me sloppy. Did it make you lose? No, but it made me vulnerable. That's worse. I reached for his hand without thinking, turning it over to examine his knuckles, bruised, split across 2, dried blood crusted in the creases. Does it hurt? Everything hurts. His voice was raw. But not the way you think. I looked up at him. Then how? Like I'm being torn in half. Like every instinct I have is screaming to keep you close, keep you safe, but the rational part of my brain knows that the closer you are, the more danger you're in. His free hand lifted to my face, trembling. I should let you go. Should send you somewhere far away where my enemies can't reach you. But I can't. God help me, I can't. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. I leaned into the touch. Don't, he whispered. Don't what? Don't look at me like that. Like I'm worth saving. I'm not. Yes, you are. Isla. You are, I insisted. You think I don't see it? The way you make sure Teresa gets home safely every night? The way you personally vetted every guard in this building to ensure they'd respect me? The way you've killed for me but never made me watch? My voice cracked. You're trying so hard to be the monster you think you are, but you keep failing. You keep being human instead. Being human is what got my mother killed. The words came out harsh, broken. She was kind, gentle, everything good in a world that punishes good. My father's enemies used that, used her, and when they were done, he stopped, jaw working. I cupped his face with both hands, making him look at me. I'm not your mother, and you're not your father. How do you know? Because your father would never have hesitated to claim me, would never have given me choices, would never have stood here, bleeding, telling me he should let me go. I pressed closer. You're a good man pretending to be bad, and it's exhausting to watch. You have no idea what I've done. Then tell me. No. Why not? Because you'll leave, and I'm selfish enough to want you to stay ignorant a little longer. I won't leave. You don't know that. Yes, I do. The certainty in my own voice surprised me. Marcus, I've spent weeks with you, seen you angry, violent, controlling, and I'm still here. Whatever you've done, whatever you think will scare me away, it won't. I'm already too far in. His eyes searched mine, desperate. You shouldn't be. Too late. Something broke in him then. His forehead dropped to mine, breath shuddering out. You're going to destroy me. Or save you. Same thing. We stood there, not quite kissing. Foreheads pressed together while his hands cradled my face like I was something precious, breakable. I want you, he breathed. So much it terrifies me. My heart stopped. Marcus. But not like this. Not when I'm covered in blood and running on rage and fear. You deserve better than that. What if I don't want better? What if I want you exactly like this, real and imperfect and honest? His hands tightened on my face. Don't tempt me. Why not? Because my control is hanging by a thread, and if it snaps, let it snap. Isla. My name was a groan, a prayer. I pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. I'm not asking you to be gentle. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be real with me. Can you do that? For a long moment, he just stared at me. Then he kissed my forehead. Soft, reverent. Nothing like what I'd expected. Not yet, he whispered against my skin. Not until you understand what you're choosing. Not until you've seen all of me and still want to stay. I already know what I'm choosing. You think you do. He stepped back, and the loss of his warmth hurt physically. Tomorrow, I'm taking you somewhere, showing you the truth of what I am, what this world is. And then, if you still want this, his eyes held mine, then I'll give you everything. Promise? On my mother's grave. He left to shower, and I sank back onto the couch, trembling with want and frustration, and something deeper I wasn't ready to name. Teresa found me an hour later, still shaking. Oh, child, she said gently, sitting beside me. You've fallen for him. That's insane. That's love. It's always insane. He's a criminal, a killer. This is Stockholm Syndrome or trauma bonding or you recognize something true in him that others miss. She took my hand. I've known Marcus since he was 19 years old. Watched him inherit his father's empire, watched him try to be better than the man who raised him. He's not perfect, but he's trying. And for what it's worth, I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. How does he look at me? Like you're the only real thing in his life. My eyes burned. What if I can't handle his world? What if you can? She squeezed my hand. You're stronger than you know, Isla. You survived your father. You survived violence. You created beauty from pain. That takes remarkable strength. Or remarkable damage. Both, probably, but that doesn't make it less real. After she left, I went to my room and stared at myself in the mirror. The garnet pendant rested against my collarbone. My eyes looked different, less afraid, more alive. When had that changed? When had I stopped being the terrified girl in the gallery and become the woman who touched a killer's face and felt safe? I didn't sleep that night, just painted. Frantic, desperate strokes. Not violence this time, not darkness, light breaking through shadows. A man standing in fire, reaching for something just out of frame. A woman stepping forward to meet him. I finished as the sun rose and stood back to look at what I'd created, and realized with startling clarity I was painting us. The monster and the artist, the protector and the protected, the man who thought he was damned, and the woman who could see his salvation. Tomorrow he'd show me his darkness. And I would show him it didn't scare me. Because somewhere between the threats and the tenderness, the violence and the vulnerability, I'd made my choice. I chose him. God help us both. The warehouse wasn't what I expected. Not his primary one, the one the Valentinos had attacked, but a smaller facility on the waterfront. Marcus led me inside just after midnight, when the city was quiet and the moon reflected off black water. "This is where it started," he said, his voice echoing in the empty space. "My father's first territory, where he built his empire on smuggling and extortion and blood." The building was mostly empty now. Concrete floors, high ceilings, the ghost of what it had been. "Why are we here?" I asked. "Because you need to understand what you're choosing." He turned to face me, his expression unreadable. "My father was a monster, Isla, not the controlled kind, the kind that enjoyed pain, that got off on fear. He built this empire by destroying families, by making examples of anyone who crossed him." "You're not your father." "I'm his son. I inherited his empire, his methods." He gestured around the warehouse. "This building has seen torture, murder, deals made over the bodies of people who thought they were safe, and I've used it too, not for the same things, but—" He met my eyes. "The blood doesn't wash out just because I'm more selective about spilling it." I walked deeper into the warehouse, my footsteps loud. "Show me." "What?" "Whatever you brought me here to see, whatever you think will make me run, show me." He hesitated, then led me to a back room. Inside was a simple table, 2 chairs. Nothing remarkable except for the dark stains on the concrete. "This is where I interrogate people who threaten what's mine," he said quietly. "Where I make them understand that crossing me has consequences." "Have you killed anyone in this room?" "No. But I've made them wish they were dead." I ran my hand along the table. Cool metal. Ordinary. "Why bring me here? Why not just tell me?" "Because words are easy to dismiss. This—" He gestured around us. "This is real. This is what loving me means. Late nights wondering if I'll come home. Blood on my clothes. Secrets you can never share. A life always looking over your shoulder." I turned to face him. "Are you trying to scare me away?" "I'm trying to be honest." "Then be honest about this too." I crossed to him, my heart pounding. "Do you want me to leave?" His jaw clenched. "No." "Do you want me to stay?" "More than I want my next breath." "Then stop trying to push me away." My hands found his chest, feeling his heartbeat through his shirt. I see this. All of it. The violence, the danger, the darkness. I see it and I'm still here. You shouldn't be. But I am. I looked up at him. Marcus, I've spent my whole life being told I should be afraid, should be small, should accept whatever violence came my way, because that's just how the world works. And then you, my voice caught, you made someone bleed for touching me. You've killed to keep me safe. You've given me choice after choice, even when it cost you. How am I supposed to walk away from that? His hands gripped my wrists, not rough but firm. Because it's not sustainable. Because eventually, my world will destroy you. Or I'll survive it, like I've survived everything else. Isla. I kissed him. Just pressed my lips to his, trembling and terrified and certain all at once. For one breathless second, he didn't move. Then he groaned against my mouth and kissed me back like a man drowning. His hands slid into my hair, tilting my head to deepen the kiss. Not forceful, but intense, like he'd been holding back for weeks and finally broke. I gasped, and he swallowed the sound, his tongue finding mine, his body pressing me back against the table. Wait! He panted, pulling back. Wait! We can't! Not here, not… Why not? Because this place is tainted. You deserve better than… I deserve honesty, reality. I pulled him back to me. And this is real, isn't it? This place, what you are, what we're doing, it's all real. His forehead dropped to mine. If we do this, there's no going back. I know. You'll be mine. Fully. Not just under my protection, but yours, I finished. I know, I want that. Isla. My name was tortured. Are you sure? Instead of answering, I reached for the hem of my shirt. His hands caught mine. Don't. You don't want… I want you so badly I can barely think straight. But not here. Not in this place. He cupped my face, his touch achingly gentle. Let me take you home. Let me do this right. There is no right in this. Then let me try anyway. The drive back to the penthouse was silent, tense. His hand found mine in the darkness, fingers interlaced, thumb stroking my palm in a rhythm that matched my racing heart. Teresa was gone for the night. The penthouse was dark, silent. Marcus led me to his room. I'd never been inside before, and I had a moment to register expensive simplicity before he was kissing me again, backing me toward the bed. Tell me to stop, he breathed against my lips. No. Tell me you want this. I want this. I want you. His control cracked, hands tangled in my hair, mouth hungry on mine, but still, even frantic, there was care. He laid me back on the bed like I was precious, settled over me with most of his weight on his arms, protecting me even as he claimed me. Are you afraid? He whispered, pulling back to look at me. I was, terrified, but not of him. Of this meaning everything, I admitted. It does mean everything. To me. His hand slid down my side, achingly slow. If you're not ready, I'm ready. I'm just… I swallowed hard. I don't know what I'm doing. Understanding flickered in his eyes. We'll go slow. You don't have to. Yes, I do. His lips found my jaw, my throat. This matters too much to rush. He undressed me with patience I didn't know he had, pausing to kiss every scar, every fear, every trembling breath. When I reached for him, hands shaking, he helped me, guiding, teaching, his voice rough but gentle. That's it. Like that. You're perfect. I'm not. You are. His forehead pressed to mine. You're everything. When he finally moved over me, into me, I gasped at the intensity. Not pain, exactly, but fullness, pressure, overwhelming sensation. Breathe, he murmured, going absolutely still. Just breathe. I've got you. I clung to him, adjusting, accepting, and he waited, muscles trembling with restraint, until I relaxed. "Okay?" he asked. I nodded, unable to speak. "Tell me. I need to hear it." "Okay," I managed. "I'm okay. Please." He moved then, slow and deep, watching my face for every reaction, not taking, sharing, creating something between us that felt sacred despite the violence that had brought us here. "Mine," he breathed against my throat, the only claim he made. "You're mine." "Yours," I agreed, the word a surrender and a promise. After, we lay tangled together, my head on his chest, his hand stroking my hair. "No regrets?" he asked quietly. "No regrets." I tilted my head to look at him. "Should I have them?" "Probably. I'm still dangerous, still damaged, still mine," I interrupted. His breath caught. "What?" "You said I was yours. That works both ways. You're mine too. Mine to protect, to worry about, to—" I stopped, afraid of the word forming. "To love?" he finished softly. I looked at him, really looked, at the vulnerability in his eyes, the hope he was trying to hide. "Is that crazy?" I whispered. "After only weeks?" "Probably. But I stopped being sane about you the moment you looked at my painting like it was worth something." His hand cupped my face. "I love you, Isla. I don't know when it happened. Maybe at the gallery. Maybe in that restaurant. Maybe every day since. But I love you. And that's the most terrifying thing I've ever admitted." Tears slid down my cheeks. "I love you too. God help me. God help us both." He kissed me again, tender this time, no urgency, just affirmation of what we'd become. Outside, the city continued its violence. His enemies plotted, danger waited. But here, in this moment, we were just two broken people who'd found something whole in each other. It wouldn't save us, but maybe it would be enough to survive what came next. The attack came 3 days later, during a rare moment when I'd convinced Marcus to let me outside. We'd gone to a private art showing, his building, his security, his carefully controlled environment. I'd worn a blue dress he'd chosen, the garnet pendant at my throat, his hand possessive at the small of my back. For a few hours, we pretended to be normal. Then the lights went out. Marcus's hand immediately found mine in the darkness. "Stay close!" Gunshots cracked through the air. Screaming, running footsteps. "Valentino's!" someone shouted. "3 men, east entrance!" Marcus pulled me behind a sculpture, his body shielding mine. "Alessandro!" "Here, boss. Get her out. Back entrance. Now." "No!" I gasped, clinging to his jacket. "I'm not leaving you. You are." He gripped my shoulders, his face barely visible in the emergency lighting. "Isla, listen to me. They're here for both of us. If they take you, they own me. I need you safe. And I need you alive." More gunshots. Closer. Alessandro appeared, blood on his temple. "Boss, we need to move. They're flooding the building." Marcus kissed me, hard, desperate. "I love you. Remember that." Then he shoved me toward Alessandro. I fought, screaming his name, but Alessandro was stronger, dragging me toward the back exit, even as I heard Marcus shouting orders, heard the sound of fighting, heard an explosion. The building shook. I fell, Alessandro's weight covering me as debris rained down. When the dust cleared, the east entrance was on fire, where Marcus had been standing. "No!" I fought Alessandro with everything I had. "Let me go! Let me—" "He's alive," Alessandro grunted, restraining me. "He went the other direction, but we need to move now." He hauled me up, half carrying me through smoke and chaos. Outside, more guards waited, forcing me into an armored car. "Where is he?" I demanded. "Where's Marcus?" "Still inside, taking care of the threat." "You left him in there?" "He ordered it." The drive back to the penthouse took 12 minutes. It felt like hours. I paced the living room covered in dust and someone else's blood, while Teresa tried to calm me and security made calls. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. We missed you tonight, but we made our point. Marcus Vela bleeds just like anyone else. Attached was a photo. Marcus, face bloodied, jacket torn, standing over 3 bodies with a gun in his hand. Alive. He was alive. I collapsed onto the couch, sobbing with relief. He came home 2 hours later. The elevator doors opened and he stepped out, looking like war itself. Blood matted in his hair, bruises darkening his jaw, knuckles split and raw, but alive, standing, real. I ran to him. "Don't," he started, but I was already there, throwing my arms around him despite the blood, the grime, the violence still radiating off him. "You're alive," I sobbed into his chest. "You're alive! You're alive!" His arms came around me, crushing me to him. "I'm sorry. God, Isla, I'm so sorry." "Shut up. Just shut up and hold me." He did, right there in the entryway, both of us shaking. When we finally pulled apart, I saw tears on his face mixing with blood. "They almost got you," he said hoarsely. If Alessandro had been 5 seconds slower, but he wasn't. This time, his hands cupped my face, smearing blood on my cheek. "Next time, we'll survive next time too. You don't understand." His voice broke. "I killed 3 men tonight, Isla. 3 men who were just doing their job, following orders. I killed them because they got between me and you." I didn't hesitate, didn't ask questions, just... He made a sharp gesture. "Blood everywhere. Violence without thought. That's who I am when you're threatened." I kissed his bloodied knuckles. "I know. And you're not horrified?" "I'm terrified. But not of you, of losing you." I met his eyes. "You think I don't know what you're capable of? I've always known. But Marcus, you're also the man who checked if my bruise was healing, who bought my paintings, who gives me choices, who makes me feel safe for the first time in my life. That man exists too." "Both men exist, the monster and..." "The protector," I interrupted. "They're the same person, and I love both." He kissed me then, desperate and claiming, tasting like blood and smoke and survival. When he pulled back, his eyes were wild. "I need you, right now. I need to know you're real, that you're here, that..." "Yes." I took his hand, leading him toward his bedroom. "Yes, to all of it." We made love like we were dying, frantic and raw, his hands urgent on my skin, my name a prayer on his lips. No gentleness this time, just need, just proof that we'd both survived. After, lying in his bed while he traced patterns on my skin, I asked the question I'd been avoiding. "How does this end?" He was quiet for a long time. "I don't know. The Valentinos won't stop. Even if I make peace with them, there will be others. Someone's always looking to take what's mine." "So we just live like this? Constant attacks?" "Or I do what my father never would." He sat up, running a hand through his hair. "I make a deal. Give up territory, show weakness, prove you're not worth going to war over." Would that work? Maybe, for a while, until someone else sees the weakness and attacks anyway. He looked at me. "There's no clean answer, Isla. This world doesn't offer happy endings." "What about us? Do we get an ending?" "We get now. This moment. Every stolen moment until the world catches up." It should have been depressing, should have made me run. Instead, I pulled him back down to me. "Then let's make now count." Over the following days, Marcus became someone different. Still dangerous. He'd always be dangerous. But softer with me. Checking in constantly, touching me whenever we were in the same room, looking at me like I was oxygen. He also became more ruthless with everyone else. I overheard conversations I wasn't meant to hear. Orders given in cold tones. Decisions made that probably ended lives. But when he turned to me, his eyes softened. You're compartmentalizing, I said one night. I'm surviving. There's a difference. Is there? He pulled me onto his lap, burying his face in my neck. With you, I get to be human. With them, I have to be a king. Don't take away the only place I can breathe. So I didn't ask about the blood on his cuffs or the late-night calls. Didn't question when he disappeared for hours and came back exhausted. Instead, I painted violence and tenderness, darkness and light, monster and man. And slowly, without meaning to, I created a series that told our story. Teresa saw them first. Oh, child, these are extraordinary. They're honest. They're love letters written in blood and shadow. She studied the largest piece, Marcus, standing between me and darkness, his hand reaching back to hold mine. What will you do with them? I don't know. They're too personal to show. Or too important not to. I didn't understand what she meant. Not until Marcus found me in the library one night, holding an invitation. What's this? I asked. A gallery showing. In Milan. One of the most prestigious in Europe. They want your work. How did they? I sent them photos of the new series. His expression was careful. If you say no, I'll tell them it's not available. But Isla, this could change everything for you. Real recognition, real career, and expose everything about us. Yes. I looked at the invitation, then at him. You're giving me an exit. I'm giving you a choice. Show the work, build your career, stay in Milan if you want. I'll keep you protected, but free. Or stay here, with me, in the darkness. It wasn't really a choice at all. I tore up the invitation. His eyes widened. Isla, my career can wait. You can't. I crossed to him, taking his face in my hands. I choose you. Every time, no matter what. That's a terrible decision. It's my decision. He kissed me like a man granted reprieve, and I kissed him back like a woman who'd finally found home. Even if home was built on blood and violence and love too fierce to be safe. The peace talks happened in a church. Appropriate, Marcus said darkly. Since both sides needed prayer. I wasn't supposed to be there. Marcus had been clear. This was too dangerous, too volatile, too likely to end in blood. But Alessandro sided with me. She's involved whether you like it or not, he told Marcus. Let her see what you're negotiating. Let her choose with full knowledge. So there I sat, in the back pew of an old cathedral, while Marcus Vella and Antonio Valentino met in the center aisle to determine the future. Antonio was older than Marcus, graying at the temples, smile lines that suggested he laughed more than my love ever did, but his eyes were cold. The artist, Antonio said, not even looking at me. She's caused quite a stir. She's under my protection. That's all you need to know. Protection that's cost you 3 good men and a valuable shipment route. Antonio circled Marcus like a shark. Makes me wonder, is she worth it? She's worth everything. Even your empire? Antonio stopped. Because that's what I'm asking for. The Brooklyn territories, the port access, half your political contacts, all in exchange for leaving her alone. The number was astronomical. Ruinous. Marcus didn't hesitate. Done. I stood up. No. Both men turned to stare at me. Isla, Marcus warned. This isn't... I'm not worth half your empire. I walked down the aisle, my footsteps echoing. I'm not worth you losing everything your family built. You're worth more. His eyes held mine. Everything I've built means nothing if you're dead. Antonio laughed. How touching. The king. Brought low by love. He looked at me properly for the first time. You must be remarkable to inspire such devotion. I'm just... Remarkable, Marcus interrupted firmly. And mine. Then prove it. Antonio's smile turned sharp. I want her to choose, publicly, right here, right now. Choose your freedom. I'll guarantee safe passage, new identity, enough money to start over anywhere, or choose him, and everything that comes with it. He glanced at Marcus, and everything it costs. The church went silent. Marcus's jaw clenched. Antonio, if you think, I think she deserves a real choice, not one made for her by men with guns. Antonio turned to me. So what will it be, Miss Chen? Freedom or the king? I looked at Marcus, really looked at him. Saw the fear he was trying to hide, the certainty that I'd choose safety, the preparation for heartbreak written across his face. If I choose him, I said slowly, what happens? He loses half his empire but keeps you. For now. Until the next threat, the next attack, the next rival who thinks you're leverage. Antonio shrugged. Could be years, could be weeks. But eventually, this life will destroy you or turn you into something unrecognizable. And if I choose freedom? You get a new life, peace, safety, the chance to paint without looking over your shoulder. Antonio's expression softened slightly. The chance to be happy. Without him. Without him, Marcus spoke then, his voice raw. Choose freedom, Isla. Please, I can survive losing territory. I can't survive watching you die. I turned to him. You think I'd be happy, knowing I left you? Knowing I took the coward's way out? It's not cowardice. It is. I crossed to him, taking his hands. You've faced danger for me every day since we met, have stood between me and violence, given up control, offered me choices. Now it's my turn to choose you, even when it's dangerous, even when it costs something. Tears slid down my cheeks. I love you. And love isn't about taking the safe option. It's about standing beside someone even when the world's on fire. His hands tightened on mine. You don't know what you're choosing. Yes, I do. I'm choosing you. Fully, knowing exactly what it means. I turned back to Antonio. I choose him, and everything that comes with it. Antonio studied us both for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he smiled, genuine this time. Remarkable indeed. He nodded to Marcus. You're a lucky man, Vela. I know. I'll take the territories, but not half, 1/3, and you owe me a favor, to be called when I need it. It was still a devastating loss. Marcus knew it. I knew it. Agreed, Marcus said. One more thing. Antonio's smile faded. I wasn't the only one asking about her. The inquiries I mentioned, they came from someone else entirely. Someone with resources beyond any family in this city. Ice slid through my veins. Who? I don't know. Yet. But they're patient. Watching. Waiting. He looked at me seriously. Your choice today bought you time, Miss Chen. Not safety. Remember that. He left us alone in the church. Marcus pulled me into his arms, trembling. You shouldn't have done that. I had to. You chose a life of danger over freedom. I chose you over fear. There's a difference. He kissed my forehead, my cheeks, my lips, gentle affirmations that I was real, that I'd stayed. I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to deserve this, he whispered. You already do. I lost 1/3 of my empire for you, and I gave up safety for you. We're even. He laughed then, broken and beautiful. We're insane. Probably. I pulled back to look at him. But we're insane together. Over the following weeks, Marcus restructured his organization. Territory handed over, power dynamics shifted, new alliances formed. I watched him navigate it all, the betrayals from people he'd trusted, the whispers that he'd gone soft, the challenges from rivals sensing weakness. And I watched him handle each threat with surgical precision, proving that giving up territory didn't make him weak. It made him strategic. "You're rebuilding," I said one night, watching him work. "I'm adapting. This isn't my father's empire anymore, it's mine. And mine includes you." Do they resent me? The people who lost their territories? Some do. Others understand that love is worth sacrifice. He pulled me onto his lap. And if they don't understand, they can work for someone else. You'd lose more people over me? I'd lose everything over you. Haven't you figured that out yet? I had. That's what terrified me. Because Antonio's warning echoed in my mind. Someone else was watching. Someone patient. Someone with resources. I tried to tell myself it was paranoia, that we'd made it through the worst, but deep down, I knew better. This world didn't offer happy endings. It offered moments of peace between storms. And our storm was still coming. I felt it in the way Marcus sometimes stared out windows too long. His hand finding mine like he needed to confirm I was still there. I felt it in the extra security measures, the new protocols, the conversations that stopped when I entered rooms. I felt it in my own paintings, which had started featuring shadows that watched instead of attacked. "Something's wrong," I told him one night. "Everything's always wrong in this world." "No, something specific. You feel it too." He was quiet for a long time. Then, "Yes." "What do we do?" "We stay alert. We trust no one outside our inner circle. We survive," I finished. "Together." "Together," he agreed. But his eyes held a darkness I'd never seen before. Not fear of what was coming. Fear that loving me had painted a target we couldn't avoid. And as I fell asleep in his arms that night, listening to his heartbeat, feeling his warmth, I made a silent vow. Whatever came for us, whoever was watching, they'd have to go through me first. Because he'd spent weeks protecting me. Now it was my turn to protect him. Even if he never knew, even if it cost everything. The truth came in the form of a file delivered to our door. No note, no explanation. Just a manila envelope with my name on it. Marcus burned it before I could open it. "Hey!" I grabbed his wrist. "That was addressed to me." "It was a threat. Psychological warfare. They send information designed to make you doubt everything." His jaw was tight. "I won't let them poison what we have." "What if it was important?" "Then they'll send it again, they always do." He was right. 3 days later, another envelope. This time, I got to it first. Inside, photos, dozens of them. Me as a child, me in college, me with David. Me at the gallery opening, and underneath, a single line. "We've been watching longer than he knows." My hands shook. Marcus found me on the floor of the library, photos scattered around me. "Isla." He dropped to his knees beside me. "What?" He saw the photos and went absolutely still. "Where did you get these?" "They were delivered. Someone's been watching me for years, Marcus. Years. Since before I met you." He started gathering the photos, his expression murderous. "This changes everything." "How?" "Because it means this isn't about me. It's about you." He looked at me with something like horror. "You were the target all along. I just made you visible." "That doesn't make sense. Who would want me?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." He made calls, pulled resources, called in every favor he had. The answer came from an unexpected source, my mother. She arrived at the penthouse 3 days later, looking older than I remembered, and when she saw me, she started crying. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I thought if I stayed away, if I never told you, you'd be safe." "Told me what?" She looked at Marcus. "Do you know about her father? Her real father?" Everything stopped. "What are you talking about?" I breathed. "My father died 5 years ago. The man who raised you died. But your biological father..." She twisted her hands together. "He was someone dangerous. Someone powerful. I left him when I was pregnant because I didn't want that life for you. Changed my name, Disappeared. Married quickly so you'd have protection through another man's name. Marcus's voice was deadly calm. Who was he? My mother said a name I'd only heard whispered. Dmitry Sokolov, head of the Russian Bratva, one of the most dangerous men in the world. No, I whispered, that's not possible. He never knew about you, I made sure of it, but someone must have found out, must have told him. She looked at me with heartbreak in her eyes. The photos, the watching, that's his people. He's been searching for you for years, and now, because of Marcus, he's found you. The room spun. So what? Marcus's hand found mine, steady. She's still under my protection. You can't protect her from him. He has armies, governments, resources beyond anything you— I don't care. Marcus pulled me to him. He doesn't get her. I don't care who he is. Then you're both dead, my mother's voice cracked. He'll destroy everything you have, Marcus Vela. Take everything you've built. And then he'll take her because she's his daughter, and in his world, that means she belongs to him. I felt Marcus's arms tighten around me. Over my dead body. That's what I'm afraid of. The meeting happened 2 weeks later. Neutral ground, a restaurant Dmitry owned, surrounded by his men, every exit controlled. Marcus brought Alessandro and me. Just me. Because I'd insisted. Dmitry Sokolov was not what I expected. Older, yes, 60-something, gray-haired, distinguished. But his eyes were wrong, too cold, too calculating. He looked at me like I was a possession he'd misplaced. Isla, he said, my name foreign in his Russian accent. My daughter. I'm not your daughter. I'm the result of biology, that's all. He smiled. You have her fire, your mother's defiance. I see why he's interested. A glance at Marcus. Though I wonder if he'd be as interested if he knew what you inherit. What I inherit? My empire, eventually. My power. My enemies. Dmitry leaned forward. Come with me willingly, and I'll spare him. Refuse, and I'll dismantle everything he has piece by piece. Marcus stood. This conversation is over. Sit down, boy. We're not finished. Yes, we are. Marcus pulled me to my feet. You don't get to threaten her. You don't get to claim her. You abandoned her before she was born. You don't suddenly get to be her father. Dmitry's expression darkened. I could kill you right now. You could try, but even if you succeeded, she'd hate you for it. Is that what you want? A daughter who despises you? I want what's mine. She's not yours. She's her own person. And she's chosen me. I found my voice. He's right. I choose him. I choose this life. I choose. I looked at Marcus. Freedom to make my own mistakes. Dmitry was silent for a long time. Then, surprisingly, he laughed. You are my daughter. Stubborn. Foolish. Brave. He stood. Very well. You may keep your little kingdom, Vela. And you. He looked at me. You may keep your freedom. For now. What's the catch? Marcus asked. The catch is that she carries my blood, which means my enemies become your enemies. My wars become your wars. You think the Valentinos were bad? Dmitry's smile was terrifying. They were nothing. Welcome to the real game, Mr. Vela. Try not to die too quickly. He left us there surrounded by his men, with the weight of what he'd said settling like stones. We're not safe, I whispered. We were never safe. Marcus pulled me close. But we're together. That's all that matters. Life didn't get easier after that. New threats emerged, rivals who saw Marcus's connection to me, to Dmitry, as opportunity. Dmitry's enemies who saw me as leverage. Marcus restructured again, built new alliances, became more ruthless to protect what was his. And I learned to live with it. Learned to paint between crises, to love between attacks, to find moments of peace in a life defined by violence. 6 months later, Marcus proposed. Not with romance or fanfare, but after a particularly brutal attack that left us both exhausted, covered in other people's blood. "Marry me," he said, cleaning a cut on my arm. "That's a terrible idea." "I know. Say yes anyway." "Why?" "Because I want the world to know you're mine. Because I want legal protection for you if something happens to me. Because—" He looked at me with everything he felt written across his face. "Because I love you, and life's too short to wait for the perfect moment." I kissed him. Yes. Just like that? Just like that. We married in the same church where I'd chosen him. Small ceremony. Teresa cried. Alessandro stood as best man. My mother attended, though she looked terrified the entire time. Dimitri sent flowers. Black roses. The card read, "Congratulations, daughter. Try not to make me a grandfather too quickly." I threw the card away, kept the roses, because even in darkness, there was beauty. Even in violence, there was love. And even though our ending wasn't clean or perfect or safe, even though danger still lurked in shadows and enemies still plotted, we had each other. We had stolen moments, fierce love, survival, we had now. And for two people born into violence, raised in fear, shaped by trauma, now was enough. The headlines continued, of course. Mafia king marries mysterious artist, Russian bratva. Princess weds, NYC crime boss. The most dangerous love story in New York. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them wonder how a soft girl from nowhere and a killer in expensive suits found something real in all the darkness. I knew the truth. Sometimes love doesn't save you. Sometimes it just makes survival worth the fight. And as I stood in Marcus's arms, wearing a garnet pendant and a wedding ring, knowing that tomorrow could bring war, I chose to believe that was enough. It had to be. Because in this world, in this life, with this man, it was all we'd ever have. And it was everything.